That's the show. No Cattles, just Ramie today. Nick will be back on Monday. We've been taking a tour around the AFC West this week on the show, and joining us now to wrap up that tour, sideline reporter for the Los Angeles Chargers. Pleasure to welcome in Shannon Farren. Shannon, how are you this afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing great. I am so excited. We are only less than a couple weeks away from football. So glad it's back, and what a hell of a division we have on our hands.
Yeah, I said yesterday on the show, I'm a little tingly already just by how close football is. I get the goosebumps. I get the goose pimples from thinking about how close we are to football, Shannon. I'm right there with you.
I do too, especially when you look at that week one matchup with the Raiders and the Chargers, and you look at the way the season ended for the Chargers, and they are going to be out for blood. I mean, it's going to be insanity when you look at what went down in their last game there in Las Vegas.
The big move this offseason, they make the trade with the Bears to bring in Khalil Mack. How much has he changed, not just what you've seen this defense doing in training camp schematically, but from a personality standpoint, what he brings to the table for this Chargers D?
You bring up such an excellent point, because it's not just about how ferocious he is on the field, but it's that not just veteran presence, but also the presence of just a really good guy. You know, I came from the school just watching him on the field and just thinking that he was a monster, you know, a beast out there at outside linebacker. And the way that he comes off the edge is just incredible and aggressive. And he is the antithesis of that as a human, you know, as a person. He is the nicest guy you will ever meet. And he's already a huge presence, even in that training camp field, in terms of working with Joey working with him. It's like two edge geniuses sharing notes, and it's really fun to watch their relationship blossom. It is great to see. And, you know, Brandon Staley, the new head coach here, 1 year under his belt, he's pissed off, because you remember Brandon Staley with the Rams. He was the guy that got all the credit for the defensive juggernaut that was that team. And he came here last year, and our defense was honestly not very good. And you could see the frustration building with him as the season went on. Nothing against the guys that played on defense. It just, there weren't great combinations. There weren't the pieces in the places that needed to be there. And also the injuries. So what happened with Brandon Staley in the offseason is like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start collecting D-backs. I am going to bolster the secondary so we are not hampered by injuries the way that they were down the season last time.
And I do want to talk about Justin Herbert and the offense, which is getting a lot of attention heading into this season. But you led me right to where I wanted to go, Shannon, which was talking about that defensive performance last year. And this is a division where you could win 10 games and end up in the basement, Shannon, which we've been talking about a lot here on the show. Is that where this Chargers team is going to have to make the biggest steps forward, the biggest leaps, if they're going to be the team standing at the top of the mountain in a tough AFC West when all is said and done?
100%. Look at what this division has done when it comes to the defensive linemen. Look what it's done when it comes to keeping your guy under center, giving him enough time to do what he needs to do. I mean, this division has stepped up to the plate in the offseason. And I think that, like I mentioned, the D-back room, there's like 16 DBs at camp, okay? The competition is incredible. I think their one weakness that I can see right now is that inside linebacker. You know, you've got Drew Tranquil, who's exceptional when he's not hurt. You've got Kenneth Murray, who's exceptional when he's not hurt. But these are two guys who have not been practicing at training camp, and maybe they're just being careful. They are both ferocious competitors. They're wonderful. Kyle Van Noy in there, too. That's going to be interesting to look at. The secondary has come a long way. J.C. Jackson coming in out of New England. Asante Samuel is incredible, has made huge strides in the offseason. He just has it, too. He's got the X factor. And if you look at the D-line, they've bolstered that as well. It was a huge concern. That cannot be underlined enough when it came to Brandon Staley and making those changes in the offseason. So I think you're going to see a much improved a much, much improved defense in the LA Chargers.
Talking with Shannon Farren, sideline reporter for the San Diego. I still say I got to stop. It's been years. For the Los Angeles.
Referees still say it. You're fine.
For the Los Angeles Chargers, Shannon Farren, my guest. We were just talking before the break, right before I brought you on, Shannon, about the hype that seems to be surrounding Trey Lance this year. And I don't know if anybody is getting more hype than the 49ers quarterback this year. But if somebody's giving him a run for their money, it's Justin Herbert, who obviously came into this league and found success pretty early and faster than a lot of quarterbacks do in this league. And now people are looking at him to take yet another step. I think I saw an article the other day saying that he was the betting favorite for NFL MVP this year. But what I said about Trey Lance when we were talking about it was if that type of hype and that type of attention is something that he just shrinks under and can't handle, then he was probably never cut out to be a star NFL quarterback anyways. And when I see Justin Herbert and the way that he handles all the attention and all the expectations, I don't get the sense that it affects him at all. He just knows what he has to do to go out there and be an amazing quarterback.
Well, Ramie, this is the first time we're meeting, so you should know that I'm from the Bay Area. I live in Sacramento. I'm a diehard Niner fan. I work for the Chargers, but diehard Niner fan.
Sure.
And you and I both know that most of the hype surrounding Trey Lance is not that he's going to go out there and be a world beater. People are concerned in the Bay Area. They're concerned when they see his delivery. He looks like Phillip Rivers. It looks painful when he throws. It's not a bunch of hype of he's going to just, set the world on fire. It's concern. It's what are the 49ers doing? Should they have moved away from Jimmy G? Is this the guy to put all the eggs in the basket with? And I think that's where the hype is. With Justin Herbert, the hype is just, this is a world beater. This is a guy who has just tarnished the record books. Look at all the records he's blown through. And he is not phased. He is the most cool under pressure. And to throw back to the 49ers, he's cooler than Joe Montana on the sideline. He never gets his feathers ruffled. He never looks concerned. He is just calm as the calmest waters there in the American River. Like he's unflappable in the huddle. There's nobody like him I've ever seen. And maybe it's a new generation of these kids that just are not the Phillip Rivers, right? Who comes out and just screams on the sideline the whole game, goes over to Keenan Allen and yells at him for 7 minutes, and they're friends.
Right.
So maybe this is just the new school of doing things. But Justin Herbert, it's when he has a good time, he's like a kid out there, and he's having a great time. And when he's winning, that's the scariest thing because he's having so much fun. He's like a kid on the cul-de-sac before the lights come on, He's just like having the best time. And he said this summer, he said, well, did you go on vacation? Did you take any time off? He's like, no, football is my vacation, which is, it should be terrifying for everyone in the AFC. But he's had a lot more time with Mike Williams. There was a great play today at training camp on the 11-on-11s where Herbert to Mike Williams was just one of those jaw-dropping plays. Donald Parham's the guy who's stepping up. He looked great today, laying out. The offseason last year, Ramie, you couldn't really have the right offseason because of COVID. So these guys spent a lot more time together building the chemistry. So they're going to be that much better.
Shannon, who finishes first? Who finishes last in this tough AFC West?
Well, I don't want to make people upset up there, but I would say it'll be the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Broncos. I think all the hype about the Broncos is wrong. Russell Wilson is great. Let's make no mistake. He's had a great career, but what else is up there? What are we doing?
Sure.
Why are we even putting them in the class of the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs? I don't know.
That is Shannon Farren, sideline reporter for the Los Angeles Chargers, my guest here for the last few minutes on Cattles and Ramie. Really appreciate the time and the insight, Shannon. Thank you so much.